What's up, guys? I am back. Another holiday video. I took some time off of regular work, and my vacation time is being spent fixing the uber amounts of broken PlayStation 5s. Before I was getting in a majority of the older consoles, like the 01s, the 03s. Now I'm starting to see slim models. These are becoming more and more. So same old problem. Get that to focus. Oh no, there it is. You can see off to the right there. Oh, I lost it. Darn it. The pins are busted over on the right there. You can see them squished up onto the top of the connector. HDMI is all spread open down below. So yeah, it's a rock. So I thought today I'll try and do something a little bit different. I'm going to try and talk about tools a little bit more, the settings that I use. I've been kind of watching other people's videos, and I was noticing that there's definitely some information that we leave out. We don't do it on purpose. I think it's more to do with we don't think about some of the, I guess, givens in this industry for doing these kind of jobs. So the one thing we need to talk about right off the bat here is the PlayStation 5 main board, along with the Xbox Series S and X. The X is the hardest one to do. All of these boards are super thick. They've got huge ground planes built into them for cooling, and the reason that they have that is because of how they're installed in such a tight little area. They need to be able to basically self-cool. So because of that, you need decent equipment to try and do this. Like, don't expect yourself to be going down to Princess Auto or a Walmart or some tool store or whatever. I know you guys have lots of big ones down in the States. I don't know the names of any of them, but those aren't the stores you need to go to get the equipment to do this kind of work. And the reason is because of what I just talked about. The boards in these things are extremely thick, and they can take a lot of heat. And the same goes for the iron. So if you want to solder on the board or do any touch-ups or anything like that, your irons need to be up to the task. So like I said, you can't just go kind of to the corner store and just buy their $29.99 model iron and expect it to be able to do this job. Or same with hot air. To get these things off effectively, essentially most people are using anywhere from, with the non-leaded solder that's on the board, anywhere from 440 degrees to I personally use 480. Some people go as high as 500, and a lot of people are using max airflow. I've actually changed my style a little bit. I used to run so if you run your, let me get this off of here. If you run your hot air without a tip, okay, so here's my tip here. This will give you the maximum amount of heat. So if you put this thing up to full settings, all the way up, and crank it, and you have it configured like this, this is going to output the most amount of heat. When you start to put nozzles on, you start to restrict certain characteristics of the heat gun. So I was finding that I was dumping actually too much heat at the temperatures that I was using. So I decided to try and localize where I was dumping the heat a little bit more. So I put on this larger angled nozzle, as you can see here. It seems to be working better, but like you just have to kind of figure that out with your airspeed and your heat that your machine can put out. Now, this is a 861 861 DW quick knockoff brand, basically heat hot air. So it's got all the common tips and everything. This, I mean, it's not a cheap machine. If you want to just go out and spend like $50, that's not the machine you want to be using. But I used to run, when I first started doing this work, I was dabbling in a BGA, like, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, maybe, and I had bought a cheap Chinese multi-station. It had an iron, and it had a hot air station attached to it. And for the most part, for everything that I had tried up until some of these boards actually is what made me buy a different one. I started to notice that, like, my tools weren't up for the task, right? Like, it was taking excessively long. I was noticing things like burning to the board and stuff where, you know, you're not trying to wreck stuff. Okay, so that should be... No, never mind. I still got two more on here. How did I miss these guys? Okay. Are we ready? Yes, I think so. Okay, so we're just gonna put... The way I like to do most of these is... starting back actually in the middle here is better, but this thing is so... kind of flimsy now in a sense, so the best thing is to put your finger right there and just give it a little tug up until you can feel it kind of break free. You'll see it start to flex. See the gap down here? Okay, and then I usually try and get under it on the top here and just give it a little tug up on this back corner, and it'll just come right off, just like that. Okay, well, there's that piece out of the way. One step closer to the main board. The other thing they changed here is these used to be Phillips heads. They are no longer Phillips. They are the same as everything else that's in these things. Okay, just take that out like that. Okay, now there's two screws that, unfortunately, like the other one, there was two screws in the board, but you could see them with the metal cover on. Now they're covered. There's one here and there's one here. Okay, with those two out of the way, we should be good here. To lift the main board. So the way I like to do it is I like to use this plastic spudger. Where it is most captured on the board is actually back by these two prongs, because that's where the power actually is. So you want to try and get under this part of the board. Little plastic spudger or something, because that's really where you need to kind of pry up on it. This is an EDM-040 board I'm working on. So this is a newer revision, 4th gen. These are so flimsy compared to what they used to be. It's quite noticeable. So yeah, just gently work under here. You're okay to work and pry in this area because it's all big ground plane. So just make sure you don't, start stabbing everywhere else. You want to just stay along the edges of the board as much as possible. So once you get this up, the board is going to be mostly free. So just give it another little pop out of there. You can see the power connector. This actually makes it a pain in the ass on this board. The other one was the same, but because the board was bigger, it didn't rock as much. Now when you have this one down on the other side, it's a bit more painful. So okay, so everything's there. This is the other thing about this one that you have to be careful of when you're doing the hot air is the M.2 slots right there on this board, whereas that's not the case on the bigger board. So the way I like to protect this is much the same way that Northwest Repairs protects against his plastic on GPUs, is you go cut up some pop cans and make yourself some aluminum heat shields, just like that. Very good idea. It works very well. Okay, so this board, like I said, it tends to rock. So what I do is I'll weight this side of the board down a little bit. And I usually use something that I don't see in its regular place. So where the heck is that gone now? Okay. Oh, there it is. It's just further back. Alright. I just use my other little mini screwdriver. It's a nice weight. The case is nice and smooth, so it won't do any damage to anything. So I just kind of put it down, just like you see here, just to hold everything so that it's okay. So and then I have the port sticking off the end of my desk. Okay, so let's go underneath the microscope here. Oh, shit, guys! I just realized I didn't have the microscope running. Great. Okay, so we want to check the strength of our new joints, and geez, okay, there we go. So as you can see, the pins are slightly shifted to the left there, but it's really not a big deal. I could have adjusted it, I guess, but let's just make sure everything's soldered. Tough, 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 amazing, amazing, unbelievable, craziness, awesome, wicked, wicked, insaneness, you're awesome, perfect, perfect, wicked. Okay, and as you can see, our side legs are looking awesomely filled in here. Might be a little less on that one, but it's okay because I can see the back is captured really good, so it should be fine. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, your pro YouTuber star here missed the show for the most part. Anyways, sorry guys. So what we're gonna do here to gather up the liquid metal is we're going to be using a couple cotton buds. I have a couple specialized ones that have point on one side, and then and these are how should I say, less furry than your regular Johnson & Johnson ones. So the thing you want to do here is soak a Q-tip in alcohol. Okay, and when the tip is soaked in alcohol, it'll actually let you move liquid metal around without too much effort. It'll actually just like ball up, and you can kind of manipulate it, as you can see here. Kind of just push it around, and it likes to gather in one big ball, so you want to try and get as much of that gathered up as you can. And I like to try and get as much as the liquid metal squeezed out of the areas that it shouldn't be in. You're always going to have a little bit, and where I'm talking is on this foam. You really don't want any liquid metal on there, because that's what's kind of protecting it from spilling out onto the board. So if you can, try and move that. Now you want to be gentle with the foam and the alcohol, because the alcohol will break down that foam. So it's a little bit of a touchy-feely thing. You don't want to go too much, but you want to try and get what you can. Okay. So now that you've got it all gathered up, cleaned up like that, now you're going to come in with, I like to use my tight knit oval bud, I guess. I don't know, it's not the pointed side, so I like to come in, and these are actually very similar to the ones that come with the Thermal Grizzly kit, liquid metal kit. They're very similar. Okay, so you're just going to come in and you're going to kind of just do small little circles on the face of the APU. And what you're doing here is you are buffing out any oxidization on the APU so that the liquid metal can flow onto it properly again. And it kind of squeaks when you're doing this part. You want to try and keep... At this point, you want to try and keep the liquid metal on the board. You don't want it going all over. But eventually, when you get the oxidization off, the liquid metal will, as you can see at the top here, it'll start to paint the APU. We can put it that way, I guess. And once it's painted, it'll actually like kind of like flow on it, like it's a surface, like water surface tension. You see, I'm starting to get it on the left there. Kind of what you'll end up with is the liquid metal will look like it's just like shimmering as like a surface, like a lake surface or whatever. Like it's hard to describe, but see if I can kind of get it on camera. Come on. It kind of turns into this flat surface tension thing, okay, but it is still liquid, and that's how you want it. So basically, we'll just toss that off to the side because we have to do the same thing to the cooler side. Perfect. Okay, so let's put the two halves back together. So board back like this, and just gotta kind of keep the connector out of the way. You want to come down into the slot here. Make sure your wires are out of the way. And down. Like so. Clamp on. Why can't I get this started? Holy moly, I feel dumb. Let's try this side. That side goes. There it is. Okay. Let's get our screwdriver. Okay, and we're just gonna give it a little snug up there, make sure it's good. Pop our cable back in, just like that. Okay, so this is when you're supposed to do the test. Before you put it all back together. So I'm just gonna do a quick diode check on the port. We've already done a strength test, we know it's good. Okay, so we're looking at basically in diode mode, we're looking for 0.8 for most of the data pairs, and then when we get to the power and control, I think it is, they're a little bit lower. So our first ones, we're looking for a value of around 0.8. Can vary. I've seen 0.79, 0.83. Perfect. Okay, that looks good. 18 is a little higher than what is on the 010, 020. Those are generally around 0.5, 0.6, but 0.7 is acceptable. Okay, there we are. Let's zoom out a little bit. Good. Okay, so just gotta put the lids back on, put the screws back in, and that should be another successful HDMI replacement. Okay. Bingo, bango. Okay, we just need to put our fan. Boom. Like so. Let's come on out. Okay, so let's do some power. Let's see if this bad boy comes alive. Power cord. HDMI. Nice and solid. That's good. Okay. Power. We have a blue light. Switch over. Nice. Excellent. There it is, and it looks like Sony's been putting this new menu on all the PlayStations lately, but there you go. Another one fixed. In the bag. Thanks for joining me on this one, guys. See you on the next one. Peace.